Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airways and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from the Kata Studio. Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show, and as always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. So how y'all doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. So today we've got quite a few different things to talk about. We really do. We're going to be talking about, let me pull up my list. There we go. We're going to be talking about Texas and some stuff going on over there. We're going to be talking about the left weaponizing fascism, which is just unbelievable. We're going to be talking about the border crisis over in, I said that already. Going to be talking about the border, of course, EV vehicles, the pipe bomb of that was on January 6th, the January 6th. I'm going to be talking about McCarthy, touching base with something else, a possible candidate running in the upcoming 2024 election. Good guys with guns in Oklahoma. But first, I got something I got to, oh yeah, by the way, there is going to be some news that I'm going to be bringing up, not really news, some housekeeping stuff, update on the website, different things of that nature that I will be talking about at the end of the show. And then I'm going to be doing a live stream over on Locals, which isn't going to be for supporters only. It is going to be for everybody, so you can tune in there going to the hohoshow.locals.com. But that will be a live stream directly after this episode, so you can head on over there, the hohoshow.locals.com. Check that out. It will not be a paid thing at all. It just anybody can watch it. So just head on over there, check out that live stream for content creators and all kinds of other people. So, and then some updates regarding the website. But I do need to give you one update on the website. I was trying to get everything up and going and, get the websites, because I'm moving everything over from GoDaddy over to odoo.com. But unfortunately, GoDaddy doesn't like it whenever you change too many things all at the same time. And so I'm like going from like 25 different DNS records just on the hohoshow.com. And I was trying to knock that down to like 9. So I was deleting a lot of things. And unfortunately, I deleted stuff that I shouldn't have, which kind of screwed a few things up. So right now, the hohoshow.com is not live. It's not active. You can't get to it at all. Let me show you what it is that I'm talking about. So if you go over to the hohoshow.com, it's not doing anything. It's so confuzzled right now. It's like That doesn't exist. Holy crap. It kind of sucks. But you know what? It happens. It happens. Again, I broke it. I very much did. You can still go over to the website by going a roundabout method. If you head on over to hohostudios.com, that will take you to the website. You just click over here where it says The Ho Ho Show. And then you can get to everything in the site. We got the news feed, which is up. Right there is where you get to the magazine over there on Flipboard, my go-to hub, my one-stop shop for anything, everything, and all things news. That's how you're going to have to get to it at this particular point in time. Until tomorrow at, let's say 2:30, 3 p.m., that's whenever I'll be able to get the links active and get this thing set up. Hopefully I can get it set up at this time, or at least at that time. But there is one other problem. Because, all right, I got to show you this one. On the website, I've got all kinds of stuff in here. I got links to the social media accounts, you know, for Facebook, Twitter, Truth Social. I got links in here for the, you know, different resources, the Flipboard, Medium, and Substack. I got links in here for the video platforms, Rumble, YouTube, the backup YouTube. I have links for support the show, which is, you know, for locals and Patreon. But none of those links right now are working. Not a single one of them. Because I deleted those before I realized what it was I was deleting. And then it was too late to go back and fix that. Because, again, GoDaddy doesn't like it when you screw up too much stuff all at the same time. So they shut me down on being able to update things and get everything up and running, unfortunately. So that's the roundabout way you're going to have to get over to it right now. The hohoshow.com does not go to anything. It is broken until hopefully tomorrow I can get that corrected. So a lot of other links are not working either. So there you go. There's all that good stuff going on. Let's go ahead and get into the show, shall we? Let's do that. I ain't doing that. Okay. Let's start with this article right here. You know how I like things. You know, normally I start off with, you know, a funny story, a little bit of ha-ha, a little bit of that kind of stuff. And I like that. You know, it's all good, fine, and dandy. But right now, you know, we're not doing that today. Today, we're going right into the crux of it because we are defending the Constitution. This one right here. That's what we're going to be doing. This headline from NPR. Now, on the surface, this may kind of sound like it's not all that bad, especially whenever you take into consideration that this bill actually came from a Republican. Headline: Oklahoma State Senator authors bill to limit freedom of press. And this bill was authored by Nathan D-A-H-M. I have no idea how you pronounce his name. I just said that because I thought it was funny. Republican, Broken Arrow, whatever. Authored bill, Senate Bill 1837. And the article says it seeks to avoid potential abuse of the freedom of press. Now, look, I'm going to be honest with you, all right? When you have some networks out there that, yeah, what they do is misinformation, malinformation, disinformation, and they all mean different things. And for the most part, whenever you hear mainstream media and even social media talk about misinformation, what they're actually talking about is malinformation, because malinformation is information that is true. It's just doesn't go along with the narrative. It's inconvenient for them. And that's what they're generally referring to whenever they're talking about misinformation. It's not misinformation, it's malinformation. It's information that is true, but inconvenient and doesn't support the narrative that they are in fact promoting. And this bill, it would require them to file for a license, which I don't agree with. It would force them to get liability insurance. And and attend an 8-hour propaganda-free safety training developed by PragerU, which that, again, sounds good. PragerU, I like PragerU. They're good. I like what they do. Let's see, a license for individual journalists would cost $290 every 5 years. Media outlets would also need to pay $250,000 for a license every year and obtain $50 million in liability insurance. Yeah. Those outlets would also be required to provide the following disclaimer before each story or throughout any video: warning, this entity is known to provide propaganda. Consuming propaganda may be detrimental to your health and health of the republic. Well, at least they put republic in there instead of democracy. Again, I like that. It sounds good on the surface. They would also have to submit to, going back to the top of the article, submit to a criminal background checks and quarterly drug tests. Now, again, some of this may sound good on the surface. It would. But here's the thing. Okay, let me direct you to the Constitution. Let me direct you to the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights says the freedom of the press. There's nothing in the Constitution that says you have the freedom of the press as long as you pass and get past these certain hurdles. I don't like that. I can see very easily how this could be used to silence the independent journalist. Now, this is something that the left is already trying to do: silence the independent journalist. Because here's the thing that, the information age, the age that we are currently in with social media, with everything, we're in the age of information. You can send something from all around the globe to the other side of the globe and back again in a matter of seconds. It does not take that long. People could be watching this show right now, listening to it later over who knows where. I mean, there's all kinds of countries that consume this podcast and consume other podcasts, listening to and consuming information from independent journalists, from unaffiliated talk show hosts. There's all kinds of ways you can be doing this. What the information age has allowed is that people no longer have to go to mainstream media to get their information. They can get their information from so many different sources that you can't even count them all. I mean, holy crap. I mean, yeah, you have the big hitters. You got Facebook, you got X, you got, Truth Social. You have the various, video platforms. You have YouTube, you have Vimeo, you have, Rumble. You have several different ones. Kick, Twitch. There's a lot of options out there. But one of the things that the left absolutely wants to do is hinder, limit, restrict, completely do away with independent journalists. I don't like this bill because it can quickly and easily be turned against us. I mean, yeah. Should the people whom are talking about misinformation and that's actually malinformation be the gatekeepers of truth? Absolutely freaking not. But that's why there's platforms like this out there. That's why there are shows like this out there. That's why there's Rumble. That's why there's Spreaker. That's why there's all these other platforms that you can go to consume information, because freedom of press, because journalists, because all these other things. Look, I'm not a journalist by any means. I'm not. Okay. I don't claim to be. I don't claim that this is a news podcast show by any means. I don't claim that whatsoever. This is news commentary. I talk about what's going on. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to bring truth. I'm going to be facts. That's why I, as Dan Bongino puts it, that's why I bring the receipts. That's why I allow the audience access to the magazines, the articles that I use on the show, because fact check me. Listen. See it for yourself. That's why I put this stuff on here. I want to be held accountable. I want you to see that what I'm saying isn't just a bunch of nonsense. You can look it up for yourself. That's why I do it like this. I have an agenda. I would like you to see things the way that I see it. And that's why we're here, is it not? Because there are so many people out there in mainstream media and social media that are lying to you. And, I've heard it put, somebody who listens or somebody who doesn't watch the news is uninformed. Somebody who does watch the news is misinformed. There's a lot of truth to that. Because when you're watching news, all you're watching is a bunch of propaganda. All you're watching is a bunch of opinion pieces. All you're watching is a bunch of people who claim to be journalists, but are anything but. I mean, when you're watching the news, you're supposed to be watching the news. It's supposed to be information. I mean, if you're going to put if you're going to put an opinion in there, you should be open and upfront about that. Hey, this is my opinion. Otherwise, you should be getting the news. Hey, this is what happened. This caused that. Did you listen to the press secretary whenever she was talking about the 3 people that drowned at the Texas border? How she worded that, she was throwing the blame of that solely at the hands of the Texas National Guard and Texas in general, saying that, hey, they blocked border security from getting there and these 3 people are dead. Like one directly affected the other. That's a complete and utter lie. They know it's a lie. News stations has already redacted that and have already said that, yeah, that's a lie. One had nothing to do with the other. But she still says it. Do I want her to be stopped? No. Keep saying you're Bravo Sierra. I'm fine with that. Keep doing that. But I don't want the freedom of press to be limited by any means. I want there to be freedom of the press. I want there to be freedom of speech. I want there to be freedom in general. I don't want that to be limited. I want there to be an array of people that you can listen to, places you can go, and people doing this can make their own decision on what's going on, instead of having an opinion hand-fed to them as though it's, well, That's what I like to see. So, yeah, this may sound good. Some people may even think that this is a step in the right direction to hold, these different news organizations, these so-called journalists accountable. Maybe it would eliminate some of the Bravo Sierra, but at the same time, I see issues with it. I really do. I see issues with it. And since we're talking about defending the Constitution, here's an article from Newsmax. I'm going to be honest with you. This had to be painful for them to write. I mean, Newsmax is no friend of the right. It really isn't. But the headline is, guns in hands of good people reduces crime. Did you hear me? Did you hear that? Guns in the hands of good people reduces crime. Holy crap. Now, there's quite a few different things in here that's interesting, all right? This came out of the Sunshine State. This came out of the Sunshine State. Became the 26th state to allow the concealed carry of weapons without a permit when Governor Ron DeSantis, Republican of Florida, signed Senate Bill 480 into law on April 3rd. Although Democrats and legacy media predicted doom and gloom, statistics suggest it was the right move. Did you hear that? Statistics say it was the right move. Now, they talk about people with gun safety, gun classes, all this other kind of stuff, and of which case, in the beginning, there was things that were down, but, as far as a lot of different things, they were up. All right. I'm looking for this. I read it earlier. Where did it go? I saw some. Yeah, there it is. They observed that the now optional concealed carry permit applications had fallen by about 64%, in which case, why would you apply to something if you no longer need to? Why would that even matter? However, Bearing Arms editor Cam Edwards noted that we have also seen recent reports that introductory shooting classes have booked up months in advance. Holy crap. So yeah, I've said it before. If you're getting a gun, protecting yourself is very important. Our founding fathers basically believed that every person from the age of majority needed to have a weapon, needed to be able to protect yourself. For whatever reason, you fill in the gap, but that's what they believed. Protect yourself. And the best way to do that is to know your weapon, be proficient. That's why these type of classes, shooting classes, gun safety classes, are very important. I definitely agree with that. Moving on in this, let's see, it says Jacksonville, homicides dropped by 6%. Miami, the fewest number of killings ever recorded. You've got Parma, where gun-related crime fell 22%. Akron and Toledo, which each saw 18% reduction. It's working. Criminals are more apt to carry out crime in instances, in places where they won't have any problems. You know what I mean? They're more apt to do this in gun-free zones where they could inflict the highest number of casualties, injuries, and the least chance to get injured yourself. Criminals are more apt to do this. I mean, that's just, this article says it. This article says it. F-A-F-O. And y'all should know what that means. I'm hoping you do, especially for Gen X. You know what that means. F-A and F-O. I'm sure you know. This article is pretty clear on that. It's pretty awesome, isn't it? Good guys with guns reduce crime, and the left is actually finally having to admit it. I mean, think about it. Chicago. If I'm not mistaken, it's the strictest gun laws in the entire nation. But for violent crime, it is the highest, if not like number 2 in the entire nation per capita. Strictest gun laws, highest violent crime in Chicago, the 3rd largest city in the United States. That's bad. Gun control doesn't work. Gun control hasn't worked. If it would work, then, Chicago would be a safe place, but it's not. And they're unwilling to admit it. Moving on. Now, with the elections coming up, this is interesting. Okay, this is interesting. I like this. I like this headline. Well, I don't like this headline, but I like what's going on. Did you guys pay attention a few days ago? The Iowa caucus, because Trump won. let's just be honest. He won by a landslide. Like, it wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. With everything that that the left is doing to attack Donald Trump, to kick him off the ballot, to make him persona non grata, it's not working, because the American people are seeing very clearly what is going on. They are. They see it. It's blatant. It's in your face. When you have people that have ignored a subpoena from Congress get locked up, be fined, where the left has basically said you should go, you should testify, you should do your duty and go to Congress and testify. What's the worst that can happen? You should just do that. And that's what their response was whenever people on the right were being subpoenaed. They were all for it. But whenever Hunter Biden gets told to stand before Congress and testify, then it's, oh, we can't be having that. People are seeing the hypocrisy. People are seeing the injustice. People are seeing that you have some people that are forced to follow the laws and you have some people that don't have to, like in the case of the Biden crime family. People see it. It's blatant and it's in your face. And they don't care. They absolutely do not care. I mean, if you think that something's actually going to happen to Hunter Biden, it's not. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. And by the time we fix things to the point to where maybe something would happen, it'll be too late, because Biden, both of them are going to be dead. It's going to be well beyond the point, I'm not saying they're going to be assassinated. I'm just saying that it's going to be, 50 to 100 years down the road, and I don't see, President Joe Biden lasting another 50 years. I just don't. He's going to die of natural causes. All right? He's going to die of natural causes, and he isn't going to die in jail. He isn't going to go to jail. That's just all there is to it. Don't kid yourself. That's what I'm saying. Don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself. But this headline from the New York Post: don't be shocked if Michelle Obama sneaks her way into the 2024 race. How terrifying would that be? For those of us on the right, we're looking at the writing on the wall. Okay, we see what's going on. We see, this is something that we really haven't seen in recent history at all, and something that, to my knowledge, has really only happened one other time. It was a long time ago. But it really, really looks like, I don't want to jinx anything. I don't want to say it's in the bag, but things are looking as though President Trump just isn't going to get the nomination. He's going to win the election. That's what everything looks like. And the left are absolutely terrified. I mean, that's why they're attacking him the way that they are. That's why they have all these cases going up against him. And we're going to be talking about that more in the following segment, a couple segments down the road. We'll be talking about that. Some of the stuff that they're doing to him and how ridiculous everything is. People see it. You have Obama. I'm sorry. Was that a slip? I don't know. You tell me. You have Biden and you have President Trump. This isn't hypothetical against hypothetical. This is track record against track record. This is established versus established, not established versus a hypothetical. And really, with even DeSantis being up there, it's not hypothetical either, because, Ron DeSantis has been governor for a number of years now. His track record. He's established. You pretty well know what he's going to do, how he's going to conduct himself. You know this. You don't have to wonder, because he's proven himself as a governor. Trump has proven himself as a president. You know what he's going to do. You know what you're getting. Biden has already been president for 3 years. by the time the election happens, almost 4 years. You know the track record. You know that things were better under Trump versus under Biden. There's only so much Bravo Sierra they can throw at you. There's only so much hyperbole they can throw in there. There's only so much lying that they can do. But, you and me, yeah, we may be told by some people that everything is good, fine, and dandy, but whenever we go to put gas in our vehicle, the prices are stinking high. We go to the grocery store to buy groceries, and things are like 3 or 4 times higher. We put insurance on our vehicle, things are higher. We're seeing that the prices of everything has gone up. This isn't good. Yes, things were way better under Trump. It's obvious. There's only so much Bidenomics is working, and you just are too stupid to see it, that you can take before it's like, dude, I go to the grocery store. Do you? I put gas in my own car. Do you? There's only so much lying that they can do. The average, everyday person, both on the left and the right, because this is the thing. Doesn't have anything to do about politics. I know all kinds of Democrats and I know all kinds of Republicans, and every single one of them in my area put gas in their car. If they have a car, they put gas in their car. They go to the grocery store and buy groceries. They have to do these kind of things. They're feeling the pain. It's not hyperbole. It's not a joke. They feel it. It's there. But this headline, don't be shocked if Michelle Obama sneaks her way into 2024. That kind of scares me a little bit. I'm going to be honest with you, because she is, people liked Obama. Barack. People liked him as president. I didn't like him. I didn't like his presidency. As an individual, I'll be honest with you, man. I seen the, when David Letterman came back and it was my next guest, and one of the people that he interviewed on the first season of that show was Barack Obama. I watched it. No, I'm not a fan of Barack Obama. I'm not a fan of his politics. I'm not a fan of some of the things that he did. I'm not a fan of how he, his transforming of the nation. I was not a fan of Obamacare. I was not a fan of so many different things. Politically speaking, I am so against the man, it's not even funny. However, I watched that episode where David Letterman interviewed Barack Obama. He seems like a funny guy. It was interesting. It was funny. I liked it. As an individual, I think I would get along just fine with Barack Obama. I hate to say it. I hate to acknowledge it, but it's true. I'm not going to hold that against him. Politically speaking, we couldn't be more opposite at all. Whenever he said, I'm going to fundamentally change the country, he was not kidding. I apologize for that dinger. I apologize for that. I had we're just closing that out. I don't need my email to be up. That's where the ding came from. But they know that when you are running track record against track record, Biden does not stand a chance. He doesn't. You look at the border, you look at inflation, you look at the things going on globally, things do not look good. There's no positive here. Nothing. I mean, holy crap. Nothing positive. Let me check something over here. Okay, cool. Yeah. Nothing positive is going on. It's bad. They know that Biden doesn't stand a chance against President Trump. They know this. Now, I don't actually believe that Michelle Obama would run for president. But if she would, if she decides that this is what she wants to do, it wouldn't exactly be, I mean, okay, here's the thing. I want to try to word this correctly, okay? With President Trump, you have a known commodity. Now, with Michelle Obama, you don't have a known commodity per se because she's not been a senator. She's not been a representative. She's not been a governor. She's not served in any capacity whatsoever. However, considering she is the wife of former President Barack Obama, that you kind of have a good idea and a good sense of where she would be politically. So, I mean, yeah, she's an unknown, but at the same time, you know where she stands. She was, in the spotlight for 4 years while Barack was president. So you're not exactly getting a commodity versus commodity, but it's not exactly commodity versus an uncommodity, a commodity versus an unknown. It's not exactly what Trump's going to do in his second term versus you don't know what Michelle Obama would do in a first term, but you kind of know, you kind of know. Anyway, but I don't think it's actually going to happen. And here's the thing too. If she decides that she wants to do this, she's running out of time. You only have so much time to get into the race. You have signatures. You have to do a lot of things before you can get put on the ballot, get put on the national ballot. You have a lot of things you have to do. And if this is something that she wants to do, she's running out of time. I don't know exactly when the dates are. I'm not completely sure on that, but I do know that she is running out of time. If this is something that they want to accomplish, I think they have until February sometime, or maybe even within the next couple weeks, that they have to get it done. Maybe 2 to 4 weeks is all they have to decide if this is something they want to do. That's it. If you don't hear anything by then you're not going to hear anything. It's too late. That's just, your time is limited, right? Your time is limited. Moving on. Now, this headline from, The New Republic, TNR, really? That's The New Republic. Yeah, that's what it is, The New Republic. Headline, Kevin McCarthy quietly begins taking revenge, starting with Nancy Mace. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to be honest with you. I really didn't get into this article at all. I really didn't. Now, I'm going to be honest with you on something else. I wasn't really a fan of Kevin McCarthy. It sounded good. And even Robinson. Yeah, even him. Not exactly a huge fan of him either. But here's what I find interesting. Okay? Here's what I find interesting. Kevin McCarthy basically got the gavel taken away from him because he worked behind some Republicans' backs in order to get something accomplished that otherwise he probably wouldn't have been able to get accomplished. That's more or less why he was removed as the speaker. And then what happened? His replacement did the exact same thing, but only this time everybody seemed okay with it. So, what was the problem? Was the problem what happened? The backroom talks, the across the aisle communication, the agreed whatever. Was that the problem, or was McCarthy the problem? That's where, that's interesting, because it very much seems to me as though McCarthy was the problem. Not what he did, but McCarthy was the problem. I am checking on something right quick. If I can spell. There we go. Just looking up something right quick just to make sure. Hey, it is. Cool. It's going live. Yeah, and that's something we're going to be talking about at the tail end of the show. One of the updates, I'm going to be talking about why I keep checking various things. But yeah. Moving on. Actually, that's it for this segment. Kick ass. All right, guys, that is all I got for this segment. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when I return, let me go ahead and get into that. There we go. When I return, we are going to be talking about, the January 6th pipe bomb. Some stuff has been coming out on this, and this isn't the first I've heard about the pipe bomb, but there's some stuff in there that just seem fishy, and we're going to be talking about that at the other side of the break. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
You are correct. You are correct. You are correct. You are correct.
Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy, have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin. Available wherever OTCs are sold. All right, and we are back. How y'all's doing? Hope you're still doing good. So as I stated, we're going to be talking about the pipe bomb, January 6th, and some information that's coming, that has come out, and things are really looking fishy. Very, very fishy. Now, this whole thing has looked fishy from the get-go, okay? Because they've been able to track down every single person associated with January 6th by looking at surveillance, by looking at CCT, by looking at traffic cams, by all kinds of things, by, linking arms with cell phone providers to find out geolocation. They've been doing all kinds of things, even threatening to broaden the search to include more people, as if what they've already done isn't enough. But yet, there was 2 pipe bombs that was left, one outside the DNC building, one outside the RNC building, that was kind of crude because they were put together and, an egg timer was used as the ignition. Not even any kind of remote timer was put on it whatsoever. Kind of ridiculous if you ask me, let's put it this way. If it's a remote timer, somebody finds it, you can set it off you can set it off remotely. You can still make it go boom. And you can get your desired results. With an egg timer, somebody finds it, there's a very easy fix that'll make it to where the thing won't blow up. It's an anti-egg timer blow-up device. It's something that I'm sure most people are aware of. Most people have probably even used this. It's called duct tape. That's really all you need to do to keep an egg timer from going, isn't it? You know, to stop it. And I mean, if you just wind it up more, even if you don't use the very specialized deactivation device called duct tape, then you can just, add more time to it, and there you go. Pay attention. You don't want to not pay attention. But again, there was no remote detonation on this thing. It was only via the egg timer. And apparently these devices were sitting for like 17 hours before they were discovered. So let's go ahead and get in this headline. From Public, headline, FBI and Secret Service are covering up their role in alleged January 6th pipe bomb plot. New evidence suggests. Well, what's so interesting that would have happened? Well, one, like I already pointed out, they can't figure out who placed this bomb. They have absolutely no idea. It was placed January 5th. They can find everybody associated with January 6th. They can find all them people that went into it. They can find all them people who are close. They've read all kinds of things. They can find all these people, every single one of them. But for some reason, they can't find the person that placed two different pipe bombs outside the RNC and the DNC, respectively. They can't find that person. Something doesn't quite smell right. I smell bullshit. Can't find the person. Can't find him. Why can't they find him? Could it be because they don't want to find them? I don't know. You tell me. That's just speculation on my part. You tell me. Why can't they find the person? They can find everybody else associated with it. Washington, D.C. is the most surveilled city on the entire planet. Maybe second to the Vatican, but not by much. The most watched, the most surveilled city, Washington, D.C. Is it any surprise? No, it isn't. You shouldn't be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised at all. But here's the news or the update that really, really makes it sound kind of fishy. Because you see, before we were told, for like a year, actually, we were told that, at the time that the bomb was located, that it was found, which was like 20 minutes before 1 o'clock on January 6th, that the vice president was at the Capitol. Well, she was at the spot where she was going to be inaugurated. That was Inauguration Day, January 6th. That's where not Inauguration Day, but that's where, supposed to certify the election. There was some things that were going to be happening on January 6th. So yeah, that was Inauguration Day. That's exactly what that day was. And, well, that's what we were told. Is that she was there to be sworn in, all that other kind of stuff. That's where she was. We come to find out, and that was a story, like I said, for a year. We come to find out that, well, that's not where she was at. Where was she? She was at the DNC office buildings. One of the locations where one of these pipe bombs were located. You watch the video of the person that found it. It all looks a little fishy because the person that found it at both locations were actually like undercover police, Capitol Police, or who were the other ones that were there? I don't remember. But they were undercover police. The whole thing just looks fishy. What are they hiding? What are they covering up? And I'm going to be honest with you. The thing that I thought from the very beginning, now look, draw your own conclusions, okay? Please draw your own conclusions. But the one theory that I've heard that absolutely makes sense, especially whenever you take into consideration that, most of the violence that happened on that day, or at least, I'm going to say most, the majority, maybe not as high as 80 or 90%, but the majority of the violence that was going on that day were going on from people whom were on the inside. Okay, we already know that, the FBI had a significant number of assets in the crowd that was stirring up problems. We all know this. This guy West, I think, was one of them. You can check out one of the previous shows to find out what his name actually was. The guy who got basically so many hours of community service after doing some, violent, destructive stuff. And yet you have a guy whom wasn't even there that was sentenced to 20 freaking years. Whenever the prosecution even acknowledges that he didn't do anything illegal, he didn't commit any crime. We just don't like him, and we know where he stands politically, so we're going to throw him in jail for 20 years. That's what it amounted to. But we know that the FBI had agents in the crowd instigating. We already know this. I think the number that I heard was 200 some odd agents in the crowd. It was a significant number. But so the theory that I heard that makes sense to me, okay, because you're talking this is either negligence or incompetence, a training exercise that went where something got forgotten, a mock device that was forgotten outside one of these two locations, and it was completely innocent. Or you're talking a plant just in case the riot didn't happen. Because the last thing that they wanted to hear, or the last thing that they wanted to happen on January 6th, whenever they were doing that stuff, was answer questions based off of the validity of the vote. They didn't want that. They didn't want these questions. And those questions were never asked. Because of the riots, that's why. They were never challenged. They were never asked. And one of the things that makes sense is these bombs were planted just in case the riots didn't happen, so that this way they can make it look like Kamala Harris, whom was in the DNC at the time, in the DNC building at the time, that there was an attempted assassination attempt on her life. Again, draw your own conclusions. I don't know what happened. It could have been a training exercise, something that they did beforehand, and it was forgotten. I don't believe that it was complete incompetence, because, the Secret Service would have, they would have, done their security sweeps and checks around the area before Kamala Harris went in. Because this device was, again, we were told that it was sitting there for 17 hours. I don't know when exactly it was placed. I don't know what kind of video evidence shows that it was put out there 17 hours before it was found. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of things that are really fishy went on here, and some questions that the FBI and the Secret Service really should be asked, and they should be forced to answer, because you can do that without, putting any kind of jeopardy to national security. I mean, this is something that we really should know, isn't it? something we really should know. Moving on. This headline from Fox News. All right, we're all pushing, or we're not all pushing, but, we are getting pushed upon us EVs. Fossil fuels, natural gas, these things are bad. Bad crude oil, bad crude oil, bad. Bad crude oil. We need to be moving over to EVs, electric vehicles. That's what we need to do nationwide from top to bottom. We need to get rid of the carbon emissions. This is just bad. Holy crap. This is what we got to do. This is what we got to do. This headline from, are you ready? Fox News, retired Navy captain warns that Biden's EV push threatens national security. Fundamentally wrong. No, it's not fundamentally wrong. It does threaten national security. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. What are we going to do? Are we going to convert every military vehicle to an EV? On the battlefield, in the war zone, a tank, a Hummer, the various military vehicles that are out there, are we going to convert them all? Because is that really, does that really make sense? No, it does not. It doesn't make sense at all. Plugging these things in, what if you run out of power in the middle of a battle that lasts for a while? Holy crap, you just disabled every single military vehicle. And that's cause for concern. Isn't it? That's cause for concern, right? But putting that aside, I mean, here's what you have, okay? Because like over in, I think it was Russia, whenever they disabled the Starlink and whatnot, they disabled, Tesla vehicles. The bottom line is that's what they want. That's what the left wants. They want you to do away with the fossil fuels. They want to completely do away with it. Who cares that over 80% of the power grid is powered by coal and natural gas? Who cares? Oil is all that. That there isn't, outside of nuclear, which they don't want that either, which only, contributes to like 10% of the power grid. That doesn't leave a whole heck of a lot of room for solar or wind. It doesn't. Not to mention that the batteries are, the mining for the, rare earth elements and all that other kind of stuff, not to mention how bad it is for the environment. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about the disposal of the batteries. We don't want to talk about how expensive all that crap is. We don't want to talk about, how without all the government assistance and grants and everything else, that nobody would actually buy an EV. And the only ones that would are the people like, John Kerry, who just want to make it look good, even though really would he? Because he still flies around in a private jet in order to get from A to B. He doesn't fly commercially. That being said, they want to control you. That's about that's what it amounts to. Because if you are an EV, then they can get in there. They can digitally do whatever they want to. They can restrict your movement. They can restrict the power grid. They can make it to where you are locked inside your 15-minute city, and that's all the more travel you can do. That's what they want. But it actually gets even worse. Because this whole thing is being done. Should I go into that first, or should I go into this? They want to limit your movement. Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. They want full autonomy over everything that you do. They don't want you driving a gas-powered vehicle because they don't have any control over anything. Unless, of course, they actually do get this whole digital dollar going on, and then in which case they can restrict the amount of fuel you buy. Oh, you don't think they'll end up doing that? Oh, they very much will think about it. They'll do that. They'll do that. I mean, they do that for other countries right now. What makes you think that they're not going to do it to you? Why would they not? Of course they would. They want control. They think that they're the only ones who knows what's best for you. That's what they think. They're not going to leave well enough alone. That's what they want, to control every aspect of your life. That's one of the reasons behind this EV push, because they know that they can take control. They can limit how much you can drive. They can limit how much you travel. They can force you to rely on government transportation, and in which case they can dictate to you where you go and when. That's what they want. But like I said, it kind of gets a little worse, because who are they blaming in all of this? You know, who's to blame? It's that whole carbon emissions, right? You know, CO2 in the air, and in which case they claim that, oh, well, you know, gas burning vehicles and diesel trucks, that accounts to like 49% or so of the carbon emissions and how much carbon is in the air and whatnot. But here's the thing. I've told you before, a while back ago, actually, that we don't have enough carbon in the air. We don't. There's not enough carbon in the air. There's really not. I mean, think about this. Okay, let's go back to biology class. Not biology. What is it? Science. You know, go back to science. Okay, and well, okay, we do this, and that's what we do. We inhale and we exhale. What do we inhale? Oxygen. That's what our bodies need, and we exhale O2. No, C. Carbon. We inhale oxygen. We exhale carbon. O2. C2. C2? Whatever. I'm not a chemist. I'm not a scientist. I don't know. But I do know this. Why? Because I listen to the freaking, smart people that actually knows a thing or two. Well, plants, you know, they inhale the carbon. That's what they breathe, and they exhale the oxygen. So it's a symbiotic relationship. We need them. They need us. That's what it amounts to. You know, we need them to exhale oxygen, and they need us to exhale carbon. Well, how much carbon is actually in the air? Well, first, let me point this to you. The more oxygen we have in the air, the better off it is. You know, the higher concentration of oxygen, that means the less that our bodies has to struggle to get the proper amount of O2. You know, it's a good thing. You know, I mean, like, really, according to science, there's been all kinds of studies done that we really should be living in an environment that has like 5 to 10 times more of the oxygen that there currently is in the air. We need a lot more oxygen. In fact, if you go into like oxygen chambers, you know, there's a lot of positive things that you can get from that. It can heal a lot of different things. Your body functions best whenever you have a lot more oxygen than what we currently have in the atmosphere. That's true for us. But did you know that the same is true for plants? The more CO2 that's in the air, the better off they are too. It's true. And I said before that, honestly, we have way less carbon in the air than what the plants need. They need a much more higher concentration of carbon than what we currently have. Greenhouse gases isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing, because that's what plants need to breathe. We need oxygen. They need carbon. That's the way it is. We're trying to eliminate all the carbon out of the air, but when is too much too much? Isn't that the question? When's too much too much? They're trying to tell us that we're in this, environmental danger, and we're not. Because the amount of the amount of carbon that's in the air is like 0.04%. That's it. It's not 5%. It's not 15%. It's not 20%. It's 0.04. I guess since the Industrial Revolution or whenever they started measuring this, it went up from 0.03%. So it's gone up a hundredth of a percent from 0.03 to 0.04. At 0.02%, animals can no longer survive. They can't breathe. It's like putting a fish in unoxygenated water. They can't survive. They will effectively drown. That's what we're doing to plants right now. They're trying to tell us that there's this huge crisis that we need to eliminate the CO2 when the opposite is actually true. Now, I'm not saying what we need to do is pump the road with more and more vehicles and all this other kind of stuff. That's not what I'm saying. Okay? Pollution is bad. And I'm glad that the United States has taken the measures that they've taken in order to eliminate pollution. But carbon in the air is not the pollution that we've been told that it is. Does that make sense to you? I hope it does. Research that. There's not a whole heck of a lot I have on that in here. In fact, some of this information came from different interviews, different testimonies that I've heard from various places. And, you know, there's some things that I might put together a newsletter to give, you know, to put some of that stuff out there so that this way you can see it. Otherwise, I would very much recommend doing your own research on this. Don't just listen to me. Definitely don't listen to mainstream media. Do your own research. It'll do you some good. It'll do you some good. It really will. We're going to go ahead and take one more quick break. And when I return, we are going to be talking about Biden, the border, Texas. We got all that coming up right after this. Don't go nowhere. Is that what I played last time? I had that. Do you love your occasional Mexican dish or your musical fruit? Are you tired of walking by family members and crop dusting them? Well, if this has ever happened to you, might I introduce you to Tampons brand butt plugs. Tampons brand butt plugs is that particular type of butt plug that allows you to walk in public in confidence knowing that you're not going to accidentally crop dust somebody. Tampons brand butt plugs now with the plastic applicator.
Not just for women anymore.
Tampons brand butt plugs. And we're back. Yeah, a little bit of a snafu right there. You know, a couple seconds of silence. That was unfortunate. Didn't mean to do that. I apologize, but it happens. Let's go ahead and dive right into this. This next headline is from the American Spectator. Headline. Let's get into it. The left is weaponizing fascism against Trump. It's forgotten the ideology's far left roots. I just love the facial expression that Trump has on there, don't you? That's just a hilarious one. You know, that's one of the things I got to admit. That's one of the things I like about President Trump. The man just, you know, some of his facial expressions, some of the things that he says. I mean, holy crap, it cracks me up. I mean, the man is truly, and he's an everyday, he's a blue collar, white collar guy. You know what I mean? He's a blue collar billionaire, millionaire, whatever he is, however much money, he's the blue collar guy. You know, it's one of the things I like about him. Sometimes, yeah, he's a little unhinged, but that's what makes him interesting. That facial expression right there. Look at that. Look. That cracks me up. I love it. That cracks me up. Anyway, let's get into this. The left is weaponizing fascism against Trump. They have forgotten the ideology's far left roots. See, here's the thing. You see, what's fascism? I mean, we can look up the actual definitions of some of these various, forms of government, ideology, Nazism, fascism, nationalism, democracy, republic. We can look up all these things. We can find out what they are, what they mean, at any rate. One of the things about fascism, it's about government control. It's like communism. It's about government controlling everything. Fascism, I think, is a little different. I think it's government not necessarily controlling everything. Like they don't personally own a business, but through regulations and whatnot, they completely control what the business can do. It's fascism. I could be wrong on that. If I'm wrong, I apologize. However, either way you look at it, fascism is about big government. It's about control. It's basically about a dictator. A penis potato. That's fascism. Fascism is about a penis potato. I'm sorry, a dictator. That's what it's about. Fascism equals penis potato. Feel free to use that. That's not mine. I can't claim that one. That ain't mine. That's either something that the fat electrician says or it's something close to what the fat electrician says. You watch him over there on YouTube. Funny guy. Highly recommend watching his stuff. He'll teach you a lot about history, different things that's going on. It's very watchable. It's hilarious. It's very fun to watch. I enjoy it, and I think you will too. The Fat Electrician, check him out. Anyway, moving on. Fascism is about government control. However they control, it's about government control. But this is what's interesting. The left claims to be about democracy. I mean, come on, it's the Democrats. What's part of that? Democracy. It's about, democracy. Now, what's the thing about democracy? It's the rule of the 51%. The 51% get whatever they want at the expense of the 49. That's what it is. That's one of the reasons why the left wants people on welfare. That's why the left wants people on the government dole, because the less you need government, the less power they have. And is what you end up having is the 49% just keep voting for a party that is going to give them more and more free stuff. That's what you end up having. One of the things that, President Trump was talking about during the last election, I don't remember if this was, 2022. Actually, I think it was 2022. But, that's whenever he first started talking about the, I'll pay for your education. I'll wipe away your debt, your college debt. It was giving you free stuff because he was buying your vote. It didn't matter that it was unconstitutional. It didn't matter that he didn't have the authority to do it. It didn't matter that he went outside the Constitution to do it, because this is a money issue. This is a revenue issue. This was something for the House of Representatives to decide. This wasn't for him to just blatantly go outside of Congress and go, I'm going to give you money, vote for me. Because isn't that what it amounted to? I'm going to give you money. I'm going to pay your college tuition. Vote for me. Bribery, paying for a vote, that's what you have. That's why our founding fathers did not design our government as a democracy. Yes, we use the democratic process in electing our leaders. However, what operates above our leaders? The Constitution. And we are a republic. Now, the left loves democracy as long as the things that the people want are the things that they actually want to do. When it isn't, then they are completely against democracy. They do not want you choosing for yourself. The only time they want you to choose for yourself is when you choose what they want you to choose. It's not about you having options. It's about you choosing their options. And when you don't, what do the Democrats always do? They rely on the courts. That's why they loved it whenever the courts, whenever the Supreme Court was in Democrat favor. But now, thanks to President Donald Trump, we now have a majority Republican, which may or may not actually go anywhere. I acknowledge this because there's way too many rhinos, even in the Supreme Court. I understand that. However, the majority of the people on the Supreme Court, they do claim that their political leanings is Republican, not Democrats. We have the majority, at least for now. We do. That's kind of one of them things that happen whenever it comes to abortion. The California, and I believe it was California. I could be wrong on that, but I believe it was California. They put it up on the ballot. How do you want abortion to be? And the Democrats basically wanted unfettered, unrestricted. That's more or less what they wanted. And the people didn't really want that. The people felt as though there should be restrictions. They acknowledged that it's a human life. And they tried to change the language. It's a fetus, it's not a baby. It's a fetus, it's not a baby. It's a fetus, it's not a baby. They kept repeating this and repeating this and repeating this. And what's actually interesting about this is that fetus is it's Latin, or at least it has a Latin root that basically means human. I currently right now am a fetus. I'm a human. You currently right now, you're a fetus. You're a human. It's Latin. So, they're trying to change the definition to mean a clump of cells inside the womb of a woman's body, even though they don't want to say that it's a woman's body because males can get pregnant now. Unfortunately, they cannot. This is biology. This is science. Acknowledge it. And they call us, science deniers because we don't want to agree with, the whole climate change and this, that, and the other. And okay, whatever. They didn't get the result they wanted, and so what did they do? We're going to send it to the courts, and that's how we got Roe versus Wade in the first place. And now, what do we see happening? They're claiming that Donald Trump is a fascist because he refused to do things that fascists do. And they're claiming he's a fascist, all the while they are doing fascist things against Donald Trump. See, let me boil it down to you. They're wanting to remove him from the ballot. Why? This is the Democrats, right? It isn't, democracy their thing? Isn't the rule of the 51, at the expense of the 49? Isn't that what they want, right? That's what they want. The majority rule. Now, I mean, granted, whenever you're talking about the election, no, it is, the president is not elected by a majority. No, it is not. It's done like that for a reason. Believe me, it's done like that for a reason. It's done on purpose. Because the president doesn't represent the majority of the people. It represents, it's kind of a dual thing, It represents the states. It's the Electoral College, and I agree with this. Why do I agree with this? Because if it wasn't for the Electoral College, 5 cities would elect the president. 5 cities. That means the majority of the country would have no voice. That's what that means. I mean, in short, that's what that means. That's what it amounts to. Only the people in these 5 cities, the 5 most populated cities in the United States, they would be the ones who elect the president, nobody else. If it wasn't for the Electoral College, then Rhode Island wouldn't matter. If it wasn't for the Electoral College, Wyoming wouldn't matter. Indiana wouldn't matter. Ohio wouldn't matter. Wouldn't matter. 5 cities and 5 cities alone would be determining who the next president would be. They didn't want that. They wanted everybody to have a voice. That's what our founding fathers wanted. Back to this, though. They're removing him from the ballot. Why? Because they don't trust you. They don't care what you think because they don't think the democratic process is going to be enough to keep President Biden, to keep President Obama, to keep President Trump out of the White House. They're afraid that it's not going to work. That's why they want to remove him from office. That's what it amounts to. And hello, KSTP Daft. He said, that's why I'm moving from California to Oklahoma. I want my vote to matter. Darn good choice, sir. Darn good choice. I mean, there are so many things happening in California right now. They're actually, if I'm remembering correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're from California, you may already know this, they are looking to do the whole wealth tax in California. That's a very bad thing. That's extremely bad thing, because with the wealth tax, okay, like as it is right now, it's more or less an income tax, money that you make. An asset you don't pay taxes on. Why? Because it's an asset. It's an unrealized gain. You don't have the money in your pocket. It's what you are worth. You own your house. That house is an asset. You pay property taxes on that, but that's the extent of it. You have a comic book collection. You have stocks, and this is really where this plays into. Stocks, 401k, different things like that. That's not money in your hand. That's an asset. With this whole tax that they're looking at doing, they're going to tax everything. You have stocks, you're going to pay taxes on that based off of what they feel it is worth. And you're going to have to pay on that. You have a comic book collection, you're going to have to pay taxes on that. They're going to basically go, I'm coming into your house to do an audit of your stuff, record the prices as I see that it is, and you're going to pay taxes on this. They're going to take all of your assets, everything. They're going to look under the bed. What do you got? And they're going to do that. That's what California is actually looking to do right now. That's scary, isn't it? That's why the top 1% is moving out of California. That's why the people that can are moving out of California. Because they don't want the government to do this. They don't want to have to do all that. They're moving to greener pastures because, believe me when I tell you, yes, the grass is greener on the other side. And I hate to see that from California. California is a beautiful state, man. I mean, it really is. A truck driver, I've driven up and down the coast, I-5, gorgeous interstate. California is a beautiful state. I hate to see it being run the way that it is. So good for you for moving out of California. Good for you. I wish it wasn't necessary, but good for you. The left doesn't trust you and me to make the decision that they want you to make. They see the writing on the wall. They don't feel as though in the current way of things that Biden has a chance. They don't think he does. And that's why they're going the routes that they are going by trying to remove President Trump from the ballot, so that this way you don't even have a choice. That's more or less what it amounts to. That's more or less what it amounts to. This headline from Vox. You don't believe me again on that one? Let me give you this headline. From Vox, a calendar of Trump's upcoming court dates and how they could overshadow the GOP primary. This should be a little scary for everybody. Yes, it should be. Because you see, with these court cases, this is the quickest that any of these things has been done more than any other time in history. The time that they went from, I'm going to indict him, I'm going to investigate him, and we're going to go to court. All this stuff happened in record time. It's never been done this quick with this kind of a case, with this high profile of a case. It has never been done in any time in history. Why did they do that? You take a look at when these court dates are, and oh, gee, this is going on whenever Trump is, well, he should be elsewhere in order to, well, get the word out, campaign. They're using law. They're using the courts to keep him from campaigning. That's what they're doing. That's why they did this. It's no secret. I mean, everybody knows this. I mean, like, come on. Did you not know this? Of course you knew this. That's why they did this. They're trying to keep him away from the campaign trail. But the thing is, and this is what's amazing, the more they attack him, the more they do these kind of things, the more people are going, no. That's why you've seen the turnout that you've seen in Iowa with the Iowa caucus, with the landslide that Trump won by. It was ridiculous. It wasn't even close. The more they attack him, the more people see the hypocrisy, the more that they see the unjust justice system, the more that they see that this is nothing more than a political stunt to keep him out of the White House. Why would they want to keep him out of the White House? Because he's trying to, wants to, would like to not only just build a wall, but he wants to get rid of the status quo that is currently going on in Washington. That's what he wants to do. And they're not going to have it. That's why they've been attacking him as much as they have. That's why they've been attacking him. But the more they attack him, the more popular he's getting. The more he's going up in the polls. It's awesome. Keep attacking him. Keep attacking him. I don't know what's going to happen in all of this. I mean, if they actually keep up their timetable, then, he'll be in prison and, he'll run the country from the Oval Office in a prison cell. Although he won't be in the Oval Office. But, I mean, if they go about it. And, again, I'm not making predictions. I tried that back in 2020. I ain't making predictions. I ain't telling you who's going to win. I ain't telling you any of that stuff. But what I am going to say is it looks like, not saying it is, looks like President Trump's got a chance. He's going to win the primary. Nobody else can even touch him. He's like, 30 some odd points ahead, his nearest competitor, his nearest, and my three top picks. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. My three top picks. Number one, of course, Donald J. Trump. He's my first pick. My second pick is Ron DeSantis. And my, Ron DeSantis, I'll get into that after I tell you who my number 3 choice is, and that is Vivek Ramaswamy. I like Vivek. I really do. I like Vivek. Trump, he's a commodity. We know who he is. We know what he's going to do. We know what he represents. We know what he wants to do. You know what he's going to do. You know what he's going to get pushback for trying to do. We know all this. Okay, we know what we're going to get when we elect Trump. DeSantis, I like him. I really do. We know what we're going to get with DeSantis. We know how Ron DeSantis has run Florida. And he ran Florida very, very good. He's done a phenomenal job as governor over there in Florida. An excellent job. You know what you're going to get for the most part. Okay, for the most part. You know what you're going to get with the Ron DeSantis presidency. You know, he's more or less advertising himself. He's promoting himself as a Trump alternative, that you're going to get, you know, all the positive from a Trump presidency without any of the negativity. In other words, you're going to get all of the, you know, all of the flair. You're going to get all of the light show. You're going to get all of the things, you know, the policies. But you're not going to get the mean tweets. And that's more or less how Ron DeSantis kind of throws himself out there. You're going to get the good without the bad. You know, he's going to be more polished. He's going to be, you know, yeah. With Vivek, I like Vivek. I like Vivek Ramaswamy a lot. He's a little bit more of an unknown. Yes, he's a businessman. Yes, he says a lot of a lot of stuff that I like. He says a few things that I don't like, you know, but for the most part, I like Vivek Ramaswamy. I really do. You don't know exactly what you're going to get. He's a little bit of an unknown. But if he won, which he can't because he's dropped out of the presidential race. So, I mean, this doesn't even matter anymore. He's out of the presidential race. He's backed out of it. And he did something that I was, should I say, impressed with? I mean, I'm not exactly surprised that he did, but he came out of that and he was like, yeah, I support President Trump. Phenomenal. Good for you. So, yeah, you look at his calendar, Trump's calendar with the upcoming court dates, and yes, they did this on purpose to coincide with a lot of times whenever President Trump really needs to be on the campaign trail, they are attacking him. They know what they're doing. They can't even argue it. Getting away from Trump, getting away from all of that kind of stuff, let's head on over to this article from The Verge. Headline: why a Supreme Court decision on fishing boats could change everything. Now, let me give you the crux of this one. Okay, they are talking about, let me find this, and I really should have found this beforehand. It is the Chevron doctrine. That's what they are talking about, the Chevron doctrine. Now, this is more or less what it amounts to, okay? A law was written that wildlife, environmental protection agency, whatever, that they could, you know, basically police these fishermen and, you know, there you go. All right. But they got their money to operate this through the government, through appropriations. Okay. Well, the money ran dry. So is what this agency decided to do was charge the boats for this fee, a fee in order to allow them to do this. Since the money ran out, they needed to get money from somewhere. They said that they're going to get it from, you know, the boats that we go on to in order to police them. And basically, the boat people said, no, you ain't doing this. This is ridiculous. Nothing in the law says that you have the right to charge me for this. Nothing in the law says that you can do this. I refuse. I'm not going to pay this. This is ridiculous. And it's not like this was like $20. No, this wasn't like that at all. Okay. This was, I'm coming on your boat. You can't stop me. And before there was money in the coffers to pay for this. The money ran dry. Now they said, you're going to give us some huge amount of money. I got to take a drink. I'm looking to see how much this is. Because I know the dollar amount. I seen it. I heard it wherever. And the dollar amount was like, holy crap, are you serious? That's a lot of money. This wasn't a dollar amount to sneeze at by any means. Okay, this was a pretty significant amount of money. Now, I mean, here's the thing. These people, the fishermen are forced to let these people on the boat. But here's my thing, and I thought about this after the fact. Okay, whenever I heard this story, I thought about this. I'm like, okay, fine. You want me to pay this huge amount of dollar in order for you to come on the boat and police me. You don't pay, like, yes, you may pay a fine if you do something wrong, but, if you're in like a traffic stop and the cop just gives you a warning, you don't have to pay for the cop to police the road. Yes, if you break the law, if you commit a crime, you have to pay for, the ticket, of course. You got to pay the fine. But you don't have to get out your checkbook or get out your credit card if you get pulled over and you get a warning. Or if the cops show up, at an accident that you were not at fault in and you have to pay for that. No, that's not how this happens. But with this, is what this agency did was just claim that they had the power to do this whenever they clearly, according to the law, they didn't. But here's the thing, though. You see, there's so much leeway that is written into these laws, basically allowing these agencies to do everything that they want to, basically without limitation. This kind of stuff is done on purpose. Let me tell you, it is completely done on purpose. See, here's what it amounts to. This is what we have, okay? I'm a truck driver, all right? My entire life is governed by a little green book. This is a book of rules and regulations. It is written by the Department of Transportation. And I am bound by these rules. I have to abide by these rules. I have to, in essence, live by these rules that was written by the Department of Transportation. Rules that if I violate, I can lose my ability to make money. I can be jailed. I can be fined. All things that carry the weight of law. Now, look, I'm not saying that all these rules I disagree with. I'm just saying that every last one of them was written by a regulator, was written by a bureaucrat, was written by somebody whom may or may not have been an educated idiot. They were not written into law by Congress. According to the Constitution, all powers of legislation goes into the legislative branch. All powers of writing law, legislative branch. That's Congress. That's Senate. That's House of Representatives. It doesn't say anything. And in fact, Congress doesn't even have the power to do this and give their power of writing laws to the executive branch, which is what we have going on right now. It's not right. It's not legal. It shouldn't be done. But it is done. You are, for the most part, being ruled by, and I put a thing together, a spreadsheet a while back ago. I believe it's still over on Medium. I think it's over on Medium. It's over on Substack too. But I put a paper together that had each year, and I think it was like 5 years, maybe 4 years of laws that were written versus regulations that were written. What I'm saying is, it's unconstitutional, okay? Our lives are being ruled, for the most part, by a bunch of unelected bureaucrats. The people whom the Constitution gives the authority to write laws to, they're not the ones who's writing these laws. But the problem is the lawmakers allow it. They allow it to happen. They write these laws in such a way to give all kinds of wiggle room to these various departments, like the Department of Education, like the Department of Transportation, to basically do what they want to do. That's how the law is written. So, I mean, this thing, I would like to say that the Supreme Court would just, basically say that, yes, this is not right, that this agency does not have, because the law does not give them the power to charge the fishing boat for the oversight and the regulation and whatnot, that no, you can't charge them. If you ain't got the money to do it, then you can't be doing it. That's what I would like to see. Do I believe that's going to happen? I absolutely have no idea. I really don't. But if this is upheld, this is bad for everybody. That basically gives police the right to charge you for doing a wellness check, to charge you for that traffic stop. That regardless of whether you get a fine, you're getting a fine. You're being charged for that encounter. That gives them the right to charge you for all kinds of things. It basically gives the federal government in these agencies unfettered access to your pocketbook. It's a bad thing. I don't like this. I really don't. It can mean bad things. I would like to say that the Supreme Court, with the with what we have right now going on in the Supreme Court, I would like to say that, oh yeah, we have a bunch of Republicans and conservatives on that are Supreme Court justices, that there's no way that this is going to stand. Of course they're going to rule. I don't know, though. I really don't. I have no clue. Moving on. What do we got? Well, let's see here. Nope, that's the one I'm doing right now. While we're talking about the Supreme Court, let me bring this one up. Now, you remember what I said earlier about the, not knowing what the Supreme Court is going to do? I mean, you remember that's what I said, right? I mean, I said that just like a couple minutes ago. That's what I said. Well, let me point you to this article right here from Florida Bulldog. The U.S. Supreme Court's workload drops. Justices seek hefty budget increase to include 24-hour private security. Yeah. Remember what I said about that whole, we don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do? You don't know? We don't know. We don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do. Of course we don't know what the Supreme Court's going to do. How can we possibly know what the Supreme Court's going to do? It's not like we have insight to what's going on. It's not like we know what's going to go on. We may know some of the things that, people are asking them to do. We may know some of the cases that are on their docket. We may know some things, but we can't possibly know how it is they're going to vote and what type of decisions they're going to pass down. How could we possibly know that? How could we possibly know that? I want to read something to you here right quick. This is a little document y'all may have heard of. This is the Constitution of the United States of America. Okay, that's what this is. That's what this is. Let me get off the screen. Okay, Constitution of the United States of America. In this contain the Bill of Rights and the what's that thing called? The Declaration of Independence. That's what's in here. Okay. Constitution. I highly recommend each and every one of you go out and buy one. If you do not, this thing's only like 30 some odd pages, 39 once you take into account the the signers, you include the index, and then you got a bit more, 44 pages. And then remembering significant dates, you got 45, and then 46, and there you go. Little bitty document. It's not very big. It's an easy read. It really is. But I'm going to read for you the First Amendment. Let me read that to you. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That's what it says. Freedom of speech, freedom of press. Let me ask you a question. What kind of speech needs to be protected? That First Amendment right there was written specifically to protect unpopular speech. How could I know that? Popular speech doesn't need to be protected. If you're saying the thing that everybody wants you to say, if you're saying the same thing that everybody else is saying, then there's no need to protect that speech. You don't need to protect it. It's already protected because it is approved by the majority. But what needs to be protected? Unpopular speech. Things like misinformation and malinformation and disinformation. These things need to be protected. Why? Because it's inconvenient. Things that people say that are untrue. I mean, it's still protected speech. You still have the freedom of speech. It doesn't say that you have the freedom of speech only for speaking the truth. It doesn't say that you have the freedom of speech only if you are saying stuff that everybody wants to hear. The moment somebody gets offended, it's no longer protected. No, it doesn't say that in there. I just read it. It didn't say that. It's not in there. What kind of speech needs to be protected? Unpopular speech. That's what's protected. If you don't want to hear it, guess what? It's still protected speech. And notice I said the freedom of speech. It does not say you have the freedom from speech. Again, that is in accordance or in, the public square. On the public square, you do not have the freedom from speech, but you do have the freedom of speech. You don't have the speech is not violence, and you don't have the right, if you hear something you don't like, to punch somebody in the face. That is actual violence. But words are not violence. There's not violence. You can say that it is, but that doesn't matter because it doesn't change the fact that it is not. Sorry, snowflakes, I hate to tell you this. Why do I bring that up? It's pretty simple. This headline, let's go back to it again. Let's go back. What did it say? The U.S. Supreme Court's workload drops. Justices seek hefty budget increase to include 24-hour private security. Why would they be requesting private security? Let's go back into the Wayback Machine. What happened before the overturning of Roe v. Wade? You can't do that. You will rue the day, Kavanaugh. You had a guy that showed up to do bodily harm to Supreme Court justices. And after the fact, people were getting belligerent. For some reason, their home addresses were just given out so people can, go and do whatever to them. They made a ruling that went against what the Democrats wanted. And the Democrats were all too quick to allow violence against them. And let's be honest, it's the left that seems to be pushing the mob. I mean, do we not remember the mostly peaceful protests that were anything but peaceful? the billions of dollars worth of property damage that was done during these peaceful protests, this summer of love? Do we forget about that? Now, I don't know what the Supreme Court is going to be doing with some of these cases that they have before them. I have no idea. I don't know what they're going to decide in this case dealing with the Chevron doctrine. I don't know what they're going to decide whenever it comes to certain things in dealing with assault weapons bans. I don't know what they're going to decide, but the fact of the matter is, the last time that the Supreme Court made a ruling that the left did not agree with, there was danger. There were threats, bodily harm against them. What did they try to get done then? More security. Why would they be asking for more security if they didn't intend on doing something that the left doesn't want them to do? That's all I'm asking. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball. It might just be insurance. You don't get car insurance after you get into an accident. No. You got to do that beforehand. I bought this vehicle. Not me. Granted, you. Yeah. There might be some people out there that would only get insurance after the fact, and then hopefully nobody notices. Nobody notices. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But they wouldn't be concerned, or at least they wouldn't be as concerned about it if they. Now I also know that you can't go into a court case already having a predetermined view without being open to both sides of the argument. I'm aware of this, and I'm not saying that they should, but come on. Let's just face it. If I was a Supreme Court justice and there was a law that was written like what Governor Pritzker did over here in Illinois, talking about restricting people's gun rights, well, then that's a violation of the Second Amendment. I'm going to turn it down. I don't have to hear both sides of the argument whenever a law clearly infringes on the Second Amendment right. What part of shall not be infringed are people confused about? I have absolutely no idea. It doesn't take a crystal ball to know that that's how I'm going to view things. And when the choice is, let me rephrase this a little bit. When you are a constitutional person, okay, when you are ruled by the Constitution, when the Constitution is your guide, as it should be for a Supreme Court justice, because let's not forget that the Supreme Court, their purpose is to defend the Constitution. That's what they are. That's what they're supposed to be doing. So, yeah, we may not know what they're going to do, but I know what I would do. People can listen in on Supreme Court proceedings now and hear their questions. Yeah. Yes, they can. All that stuff, what is that, CNET maybe? I don't remember the actual website. But yeah, you can tune into what's going on in the Supreme Court. Heck, you can tune into what's going on even right now. What's going on in Congress, whether it be Senate or House of Representatives. You can tune into that right now. You can listen in live, hear everything that's going on. You can absolutely do that. And in all honesty, I would recommend doing that. Very much so. Tune in to what's going on, not only in Congress, upper, lower chamber. I would definitely recommend doing that in Supreme Court as well. You can learn something. Absolutely, you can learn something. Moving on. Nope, did that one already. Ooh, all right, let's see. What do we got left? We did that one. Supreme Court. Okay, what do we got next? Yeah. Yeah. Well, crap. All right, one more quick break, and then when I return, we are going to talk about the border crisis. We're also going to be talking a little bit about foreign policy. That's what we're going to be talking about as soon as I get back. So just a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere. Do you work at any of the myriad of jobs where you might have to sit on your bum all day? Well, if so, maybe you know what it's like to suffer from the condition known as swamp ass. Well, if so, have I got the solution for you?
Anti-monkey butt powder.
That's right.
Anti-monkey butt powder.
You can use it indoors, outdoors, work or play, or on any occasion when you sit on your bum all day. Don't let your buns get red. Use anti-monkey butt powder instead. Available wherever anti-friction powder is sold. And we're back. You know, I used to keep, I was just thinking about this. I used to keep a bottle of anti-monkey butt powder in studio. Yes, I did. Because for me, it was freaking hilarious. To have that as a little visual aid, if you will. I thought it was hilarious. And yes, that is that's of the several different promos that I play, anti-monkey butt powder and Angel Soft are the two that are the absolutely real products that I suggest using in the way that is intended. The tampon brand butt plug, obviously not to be used that way. Tide Pod brand colon cleanse is not an oral. No, you're not supposed to eat those. And last time I checked, Tussin does not cure broken bones. But anti-monkey butt powder, that's like what's on the jar. Basically, every word of that is actual marketing on the anti-monkey butt powder, thing. It's yeah. I find it hilarious. That's why I put it in there. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. We are talking about foreign policy. Oh, yeah. Foreign policy. This headline from the Messenger News. Let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. U.S. voters don't really care about foreign policy. This year, they may not have a choice. Now, let me be clear about something. Okay? Let's be clear. It's not that we don't care, and we as in Republicans, conservatives, libertarians, whatever label you want to put on us, those of us that are on the political right. It's not that we don't care about the whole foreign policy. We do care. I care. I definitely care, But, I'm getting sick and tired of our tax dollars just going wherever all willy-nilly, to countries like Ukraine, when there is a buttload of corruption and we have absolutely no idea how much, we don't have receipts for how they're spending the money. We don't know. They can't provide the receipts. Money, and a significant amount of money, has gone missing. That's not a secret. It's not a secret at all. Okay? Not even close. That's why you're starting to see pushback about that. It has been hypothesized that, the money that's going to Ukraine is nothing more than a big, money laundering scheme to put money back in the hands of people in government. There's corruption, a lot of it. It's been documented in the past. They're concerned about that. They can't provide the receipts on how a lot of the money, the foreign aid money that has already gone over to Ukraine, how it's been spent. That's why we're getting pushback as to the amount of money that they still want to go to Ukraine. And finally, Republicans are going, look, we need to calm down on this, because how's this money getting used? How do we limit the usage of this money? We send them a lot of money. It's kind of sad whenever we send all this money over to Ukraine to protect their borders. In the meantime, what's going on at our own southern border? It's ridiculous, right? Isn't it ridiculous? Why are we paying money to, if walls worked like what we're saying in Ukraine, why does the wall between the U.S. and Mexico, why does that wall not work? I don't know. Yeah. I want that money to be spent responsibly. And then whenever you had what happened over in Israel with the attack, the left, because, well, gee, you be the judge. Why? Why was they wanting to tie every bit of foreign aid that went to Israel with Ukraine? The Republicans were wanting to separate that because the Republicans were getting sick and tired of sending money over to Ukraine without having any idea how that money is being spent. And then we're seeing what's going on in Israel, and we're like, hey, we really should help them. And the left was going, well, if you want to help Israel, you have to help Ukraine too. Why are we helping Ukraine? We've already been helping Ukraine, and we don't know what's going on over there. We don't have the receipts. They can't provide the receipts. Why do you want us to continue to send money over there? Well, because they need it. Okay. Not saying that they don't. But why can't they provide the receipts? Why can't we know? It's our money, isn't it? Why can't we know how this money is being spent? What's the big secret going on? How is the money being spent? Do you not know how the money is being spent? If it's not being spent properly, then why do you want us to give you more money just to throw down the drain? It's a waste of money. They don't care. It's not their money, and that's, but is it a laundering scheme? I don't know. There's a thing that I heard back in the day was the proof is in the pudding. Maybe in this case that's kind of accurate. Maybe the proof is indeed in the pudding. And then you have things like this going on. This is from Truth Out. I gotta be honest, I've never heard of Truth Out before. I'm pretty positive I've not, looked at one of their articles, but they, they came up and I was like, this is interesting. Let's go ahead and put this into the magazine. Headline, Netanyahu says Israel's goal is to wipe out all possibility of Palestinian state, of course, as it should be. Because here's the thing. If what happened in Israel happened here, there would be hell to pay. Would there not be? That's the equivalent of 3 attacks on the World Trade Center? The amount of people that died per capita, it was a lot of people. It was bad. It was very bad. What they did was bad. It was very bad. And I'm looking at how Israel has decided to conduct themselves after the fact. And, I'm going to be honest with you. I've said this on previous episodes. I'm not even ashamed to say this. And, I wish they would do more. If it was me, I would get biblical on them. I would Sodom and Gomorrah their asses. Just being honest with you. They elected the terrorists to lead them. More than once, not just once, they did that. They knew who they were electing in the office. Whenever they came back with, some of the people that they took hostage, the Palestinians were cheering. Yay for you. For catching these Israeli and other scum. Cheering. Yay. And you also seen some of the pictures. You also seen some of the videos about that. I mean, it's just horrendous what happened. The atrocities that was brought upon Israel by these savages. And there's no other way to put it. There's not a nice way you can say it. They were savages. These are things that just a wild beast would not do this to its prey. Savages. I mean, beheading a baby for crying out loud. Are you kidding me? I mean, I guess if you're a Democrat, then, why would you be appalled by this? Because, most of these people are pro-choice, and of which case you go in there with a bunch of, tweezers and salad tongs and you rip a baby apart during an abortion. You twist off its head. You snip the spinal column. You take a vacuum cleaner to the skull to suck out their brains. I mean, this is, pretty horrendous stuff, and I would consider that to be pretty savagery, but so I guess if you're a Democrat, then, chopping off a baby's head, performing an abortion on a woman that just doesn't want to have a baby, that doesn't care about human life, well, then this, whatever, right? I guess. I don't know. But if I was Israel, Sodom and Gomorrah, man, I'm done. But here, don't get me wrong. I'm not cold. I'm not calloused. Okay. Those in the Gaza Strip, they asked for this. They asked for this. They've had opportunity upon opportunity. There was the option for a two-state solution. Now, Netanyahu does not want any kind of a two-state solution. This article from Politico, Democrats appalled by Netanyahu's bashing of a two-state solution. This article from NBC News, Netanyahu's opposition to Palestinian state could complicate Senate aid package. The problem is, you have too many people on the left, and this has been pretty blatant and obvious whenever you're looking at some of these colleges that are in support of what happened to Israel and are in defense of Palestine. And it's like, I mean, I'm amazed. I got to be honest with you. I am amazed whenever you can have somebody whom is, let's say part of the rainbow community. And no offense to anybody who is part of the rainbow community, because I don't care. I have friends, family that are part of the rainbow community. I do not care. It doesn't matter to me. Okay? But let's be honest about something. Okay? If you go over to the Gaza Strip and you start wearing your colors loud and proud, I'm queer and I'm here, don't be surprised when they give you a can of Red Bull and then toss you off a roof to see if you can fly. Because being gay, don't fly around there. You can be in Israel and be gay. You have rights. You can be here and be gay, and you have rights. You can be, well, let's just face it. You can't be there and be gay and have rights. You don't. Women that are like, oh, I'm in support of Palestine. You do realize how Palestinians treat their women, don't you? You are aware? You know? How can you be in support of this? How can you support genocide? How can you support the brutalization of women? How can you support gang rape on women? How can you support a country that goes in and does the atrocities that Palestine did to Israel? And not just Israelis, but people who were there, including American citizens, including French citizens. How can you be okay with what happened? How can you watch the videos and be okay with what happened? Netanyahu, Sodom and Gomorrah their ass. They've tried to be nice. They've tried to do it the peaceful thing. That's how they got Gaza in the first place. They tried to help them in any way that they could. But every single time, the Palestinian people are like, no, we want more. You are talking about people who do not want a two-state solution. They think that all Israel should be wiped off the map, every single person, kill the infidels. That's what they believe. That also includes you and me. That's what it also includes. Sodom and Gomorrah. This isn't going to stop Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm not even sorry. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not even sorry. And so this video, while we're on this video will, I'm sure, be removed and deleted. And we're pretty much done with the show now. But it's pretty well going to be deleted. It's going to be removed. And I would recommend you going over to Rumble, search for The Ho Ho Show. You will find The Ho Ho Show there. Go ahead and subscribe to that. I just got done redoing, deleting the old channel, making a new one so that this way it wasn't tied with YouTube, because that's how I previously had it set up. But, that doesn't really work out to my advantage to have Rumble attached to YouTube, whenever YouTube is the one who is most likely going to be removing my videos, and in which case I got to have something that's a little bit more free speech platform. Got to have that. That's why I'm over there on Rumble. So check that out. Just search. I don't have a link that you can use. Unfortunately, I do not. So, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty well it. All right, guys, so that is it for the show. I am going to have available over on Locals for everybody. I'm going to be talking about the some of the changes that are going on right now regarding not just thehohoshow.com, but blackmirrorpodcast.com and hohostudios.com, all of those, and some other things that is going on that is relevant, especially if you are a content creator. So feel free to head on over to thehohoshow.locals.com, and that is in the chat windows. I'm sure you are able to see that. So head on over there immediately after the broadcast, and, we'll talk about that, and there we go. All right, guys, that is all I got for you today. Y'all just have yourself a wonderful evening. And by the way, thank you for stopping by, participating. Y'all are amazing and awesome. Till next time. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpikle.com. Until next time.